Could some of the boxes recovered from the former president have put national security and perhaps lives at risk?
This is as bad as it gets.
It really does send chills up the spine of anybody who's ever worked at CIA.
When you have this kind of information, you guard them with your life.
Man, that sounds like it's a big deal if you steal some classified documents. Joining me now, my friend Curtis Houck, of course, managing editor of the Media Research Center. Curtis, man, that sounds like a really big deal if you've got these things. Is it still a big deal, Curtis?
So, yeah, somebody should do something about that, Jesse. I mean, It kind of is, in the first couple of days from our position, the mainstream media, they were really caught off foot by this. They were offended that they weren't told about this, that they had to come asking Jesse. They asked tough questions in the White House briefing room. And, I gave them credit last week, but it's becoming clear by the day that, really the issue is that they weren't told about it. The media were kept, they're trying to help Joe Biden out here, and they're just really making things difficult for them. And now it's back to Republicans pouncing, tutting around of the fact that there are no visitor logs at Joe Biden's house. So just on and on and on, you see more and more excuses come from the liberal media. And you can tell that the talking points have gone out there. But again, they're just saying it's really not that big of a deal because Joe Biden didn't mean it. And if you say you're sorry, you can probably take classified documents.
Curtis, call me a conspiracy theorist, but this reeks to me of an attempt to take Joe Biden out by the Democrats. Democrats are masterful at this. We've seen them do this time and time again. Most recently, publicly, they did it to Andrew Cuomo. People somehow remember this as some Republican plot. It was Democrats who slipped a knife in between his ribs and shipped him out of the governor's mansion. This reeks like a Democrat op to me to get rid of this cadaver before 2024. Am I reading too much into it?
Eric Schneiderman, I would also add that as well. He's another guy where they did this as well. I mean, yes, the View is just too dumb to understand that that's a possible motive here when they said last week that Republicans may have planted the documents, which the White House today came out with a statement that was just one step away from doing just that, accusing them of being in on it somehow. But yes, Lisa Booth, I think, made this point in real time last week that it is an attempt to throw Joe Biden overboard because it really undercuts his argument. And NBC has really been fretting this in particular, that Joe Biden ran on competency. He ran on credibility. And this doesn't allow him, as in the media, to make that point for him against Donald Trump or, Ronaldus Neximus or whomever emerges from the GOP side. So I think at the end of the day, it definitely is an attempt to throw Joe Biden overboard, because if you have that and if you have Hunter Biden with whatever comes from that, you really have two different tracks that you can go at Joe Biden from. Come with the left, come from the right, and then really throw him overboard. Although I would say things aren't really good for the Democratic darling Pete Buttigieg, because as we've seen, he has his own problems.
Let's go back to Biden, only a different one this time. Hunter. Ron Johnson went on Chuck Todd, who's always been a weapons grade loser, and this is how it went.
I'll take it at your word that you're ethically bothered by Hunter Biden. I'm curious, though. You seem to have a pattern.
Are you not?
I seem to have a pattern. I'm a journalist. I have to deal in facts.
Are you not?
I deal in facts. So, Senator, my question to you is, I'm always worried. I have skepticism of both parties. I sit here with skepticism of a lot of people's work. If you're concerned about what Hunter Biden did, you should be equally outraged about what Jared Kushner did.
I'm concerned about getting the truth. I don't target individuals.
You don't? You're targeting Hunter Biden multiple times on this show, Senator. You're targeting an individual.
Chuck, Chuck, part of the problem, and this is pretty obvious to anybody watching this, is you don't invite me on to interview me. You invite me on to argue with me.
Curtis, okay, Chuck Todd's an idiot. We've all known that. Hunter Biden does look like, though, he might be in real legitimate trouble here that maybe they can't weasel out of. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure he's going to get 6 months of community service or something at the end, but he looks like he's in a pickle.
Right, as in things that if anyone else were doing them, they would be in real deep something, or they would be in serious trouble. You know, real quickly on Chuck Todd versus Ron Johnson, I love this so much that Ron Johnson keeps going on this show. This has happened multiple times, and the result is exactly the same. Ron Johnson knows just which buttons to push. And nobody likes Chuck Todd, by the way. He makes one thing remotely non-progressive, and the left is about ready to throw him off the cliff. The New York Times did a similar thing this past week with Michael Schmidt in this headline, "The Tale of Hunter Biden to Come Front and Center." And it went on to kind of bemoan the fact that, you know, Donald Trump and Republicans have sullied the Biden family. And it's an escapade. And that Republicans have yet to demonstrate that the senior Biden was involved in his son's business dealings or took any action to benefit him or his foreign partners. I mean, come on. Like, hashtag come on, man. I mean, starting with the 10% for the big guy, I mean, this is just absolutely ludicrous. Then it got even better. When it came to it, they admitted that there were these series of encounters between Hunter's business partners from foreign countries and Joe Biden. The New York Times said this, a series of encounters between the elder Mr. Biden and his son business associates to build a case that they were working with each other. The Bidens and many of their associates tell a different story, saying that the encounters were, quote, typically fleeting and involved no substantive discussions. I mean, we're really supposed to believe that this is just a complete coincidence and just a handshake, and that's it?
No, they're out there sharing golf swing tips out there. Curtis, thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man.
No problem, Jesse.